I feel like this
We are
episode's
back
going to be a short
again.
one, unfortunately.
I didn't know. Short
Um,
like the race this past weekend. Dang.
we're trying to do episodes for every single race this season. However, this race didn't really give us all that much to talk about.
Zero, it
But
was zero substance.
there is
I wanted
always
I wanted to leave early. I wanted to ditch it in the bathroom. I wanted to leave it. Yeah,
it was not a
it existed.
not a great race. But we'll get into that. Welcome back, Tread Lightly podcast, episode 4.
Oh yeah. We're
Some
back.
stuff to talk about. I usually say a lot of stuff to talk about. There really isn't that much to talk
Not
about, but
today. Not
we're on our
today.
weekly stuff, so
We'll figure
um
something. I'm sure it'll come up. I love it.
there will be plenty. We're recording this on a Tuesday, so there could be stuff coming later this week, but we don't
Uh,
have all that information. Sydney's birthday is Thursday, so we can't film on the normal Thursday days.
I
So
feel like I've been so busy this past like month,
you
like
have,
taking
but we're finding
trips.
time,
You
so it's
know, the
fine.
season started. I'm like all over the place.
We're all finding our groove a little bit, but it sounds like we have our days that we're gonna do this now. Tuesday and Thursday are the days, right? So, but
We got it.
let's just get right into this because we're probably gonna go through this quick, but Suzuka this weekend was certainly something, I guess we could say. We can't really say it was good or bad because
Yeah, I was just about to say like it was a very
it
neutral
was
race, I
nothing
would
like
say.
nothing bad happened except for a really boring race. So
Yeah. I feel like
give
it
me
was
your thoughts because it was
like
kind of brutal.
what's that one phrase? It's like back to your regularly scheduled PD program.
Yeah,
That's what this race was like.
back to
Same
Max
with the old
domination,
Max winning, leading the race, like nothing interesting happened. It was just same old,
to the
back to your
point
regularly
where
scheduled TV program is
it
what it felt like.
literally was that because it you could tell it wasn't all that special. Before every episode, before every race, I write a summary of the entire race with like moments of what has happened and
I
what there
I
was.
couldn't even
I
I was
wrote
trying to find random
four
stuff.
things. I wrote four things down
I
because
couldn't find
it wasn't
anything. And
anything.
the only thing that was interesting was just like stuff that,
Didn't really matter at the end.
yeah, really at the end of the
Like
day, it doesn't
the
matter.
biggest moment of the race was Lando almost crashing the car out of the pit lane,
Which I do have an opinion on. We
which
can
I
get
have an
there.
opinion on. I think we're going to differ on that. So, but
Really?
it
I'm
it
curious.
it didn't end up mattering. Like Max won by a second and a half. Lando couldn't find the pace to get him. I noticed
Yeah.
while racing, and this is at 2 in the morning, and I'm half asleep because I stayed up, but he would gain time in sector one, lose all of that time in sector two, gain a little bit in sector three, and do the same thing over and over again. So it didn't really matter. So
He just had no pace. There was no pace to the car.
there really wasn't. It
What he
wasn't
was
even a
doing.
matter of them not having pace. I think it just shows how good Max is because he was nailing every single lap. He didn't make a
Which
single mistake.
I hate to admit it, but he is. And it makes me very frustrated. But
You have
again, if you compete at that level, you got to get to that level first.
exactly.
So
You,
it's,
you have to think, right? Should Max somehow pull this off? Because right now he's only a point behind Lando in the Drivers' Championship.
oh my gosh, when I saw that, I was like,
Should he win with this car this year? He's like as if he isn't already. Like he's already in the conversation as one of the best drivers ever. But you have to like give him serious consideration if he wins this year, right? Because like it's
yeah,
three, is it 4 in a row? 3 in a row? I'm losing track. I think it's 4 in a row now. 21, 20, yeah, 21, 22,
yeah,
no, maybe five.
in
I don't even
Japan,
know. I can't
yeah,
count. But
four, I think.
he's quickly approaching Lewis territory in the amount of drivers' championships, and he's in a terrible car. Like it just shows
It's a
how good he is.
horrible car. My resentment for Red Bull grows every day. Every time I see a video on my feed, which is very frustrating. I saw a funny thing earlier too. It's like a, I don't even know what kind of car it was, but it looked like a Formula One car and it had like two drivers in it. And it was like Max, like, I forget what it was. It was like basically being like Max, Red Bull learning how to drive with two drivers in one car or something like that. Because obviously nobody else can perform in it.
Which that does give us another little storyline, which I didn't even write here, which is crazy that I completely forgot this. But Yuki did not look good. Liam didn't look good
Oh,
either. So
I'm
it's
telling
interesting.
you, I don't. they have built a car around a singular driver, and you cannot operate a team like that. You can't do it.
which
It is
brings
not
us.
a one-man show. It's a one-man show, but it's not a one-man show. There's
It's
no I in team. Like,
exactly. It's funny we talk about this now because of course if you watched the episode last week, we had my predictions and I did predict Yuki in the podium because I wanted it to happen and
I knew it was gonna happen. I think I had, wait, where did I forget where I had him, but I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and look at what I said, but I'm pretty sure I didn't
which
have
to prevent me from doing predictions based on, you know,
hopes and dreams.
desire and hopes and dreams, we're gonna put together a little system which we'll talk about later when we do the race predictions. We're going to predict our top five every week. We're going to put points on it. So if we get one right, we get a couple points, and we're going to see who gets the most at the end of the
I
year.
like it. I like
Just
it.
gives us a reason to actually try for our predictions and not just say Yuki Tsunoda is going to get a podium because he.
Comment,
So
comment ideas for whoever wins.
we
Whoever
could do a
wins,
little
what the prize
punishment
should
or
be.
something. I think that could be
Yeah,
good.
yeah, or
So,
punishment. Yeah, we'll figure something out.
but to
Monaco tickets are on the line. I'm kidding.
loser buys the tickets. But to continue on that, we all thought Liam Lawson was going to be a little improved when he goes back to the RB that he's so familiar with. He finishes P17 and again doesn't look good. So are you starting to worry about Liam Lawson?
I'm a little worried. I can't tell if it's like jitters, maybe because it's still early in the season, but I mean that's we're getting kind of into a groove. I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's too early, but also I feel like you shouldn't be performing that bad, especially being in the car that you're in my
Yeah.
opinion. I don't know.
It's such a little like it's so
I
hit
don't
or
know.
miss with the Red Bull cars or like the Red Bull family.
It
Like
is. It's
because
like
they both should be
that's the
good.
thing. Can you blame the driver or do you blame the car? Because it's also like
I don't know how
I
you
feel
could
like
blame the
even
car at
before
this point.
Lawson in I feel like but even before he moved, like neither team was performing well. Like you
See,
weren't really
which is a
I
conversation
don't
we've
know.
had a couple of times in the past because RB's cars looked fast all year. It's just they
But
keep getting very unlucky in the races.
I
But
don't
we saw it
I
this
don't know what
week. Isaac Hadjar finishes eighth ahead of every midfield team, every single one. So he actually finished above the only people he finished behind were the top teams, and he still finished ahead of Yuki. So not even all the top teams. Like
like I can you do you blame the cars or do you blame the driver? That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it's too early to be able to tell whether it's the driver or the car, but obviously there's something's going on, something's not
I
right. I feel
think
like the Red Bull cars and with the drivers, I don't
I
know if
think it's a
it's
mix too, right? Because I think Isaac is
yeah,
very much outperforming what people thought he was going to. Isaac looks great. Other than the first race where he didn't race,
that doesn't
he looked
count.
good.
That was outside
Exactly,
factors.
exactly.
I
But
will
like
give
even
him
in
the benefit of
qualifying,
the
he looked
doubt.
good. Like he looked good in qualifying. He's
That was
looked great all season. So I think they might actually have something there. Obviously, lost his first race
hopefully
back in RB. You can't really give him anything right away. But like
not really.
the cars, we know they're bad. So it's a mix of both. But I think Isaac is also just really good.
It's I feel like it's too early to tell. I would say like I wouldn't be surprised if there's a mid-season change,
It
but
wouldn't surprise me either. But they
I guess
don't.
we'll
The
find
only reason it wouldn't surprise me is because Helmet, right? So Helmet will just go psycho. But time will tell on that one.
another story in itself, but we don't talk about it.
Now, another topic I think we should talk about. This isn't so much a potential for a replacement midseason, but I want to talk about Williams a little bit because obviously they've outperformed a lot of compared to what they were last year. They're scoring points more than ever. However you look at it, it's virtually all Alex Albon. Like Sainz has done nothing.
I don't know. I think I mentioned last week too that there was supposed to be a change to um Carlos's car. I can't recall off the top of my head if that happened or not.
And if it did, it
Like
didn't show it
I don't
too.
know. I feel like I don't know why it's Albon. I'm glad they're at least performing well on half of the front, but at the same time, like I don't know. I can't tell if it's kind of like how in my I view like maybe the Lewis and Ferrari situation where it's a new team, you're trying to get like in the groove of things, and maybe it's taking a minute to get into that groove. Like I said, I don't know if there's like beginning of the season jitters going around with everybody, or if my hopes are way too high for everything right now.
That's where I'm at. I'm trying to determine if I set too high expectations for Williams and Carlos Sainz, or if it's just the early season things. Because like you look at it, like Lewis is having his early season issues. Like there's no real question of that. He knows the car can be quicker. Ferrari knows the car can be quicker. I'm sure Williams knows the exact same thing for Sainz. It's one of those weird ones. But
Um,
yeah, it really is.
um,
But
yeah.
as we move on, a couple more things that we want to touch on before we go into our fantasy and our predictions. A couple topics that we want to discuss a little bit. We'll start with the big one that I've kind of been considering, the overtaking problem in F1, right? It's not always a concern. However, it has become more of a concern lately because of tracks like Monaco, Suzuka last week. You just don't see teams kind of
There's
overtaking.
no, there's not, it's like wherever you start. I mean, I guess in a way, like it's kind of cool in the sense that like, okay, you really have to give it all in qualifying because at the end of the day, where you place in qualifying is where you're basically going to finish the race. No ifs, ands, or buts at that point. But I definitely think it's something that needs to be addressed because I like I'm this last week's race was so boring. Like there was nothing that happened and there's nothing that could happen.
Yeah. Especially
Like
in
I don't
these races, us being in the US, we're a little biased, right? But the races that people have to stay up for, the 1 a.m. races like the ones that we had last week,
like
I stayed up
it's
for
a
a
snooze
race that
fest.
didn't matter. Like nothing happened, right? Like you look at the top eight, the one through six started and finished in the same spot, and seven and eight swapped because Lewis passed Hadjar. That's literally all that happened. So
But like it's I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's because I'm being picky and I want it to be 100% action. You know what I'm saying? Every time, but like
it's been a
they
topic of
don't.
conversation for a while though, because like
Yeah,
tracks like Monaco, like they're so famous, they're never gonna get rid of Monaco, right? But they need to
yeah, but I
kind of,
was losing the feel. Yeah, like it's just like
especially now,
okay,
because
like
the main storyline that kind of made Monaco watchable is Charles Leclerc going to ever win Monaco. He's now won Monaco, so like, what more is there really to kind of pay attention to?
what now other than spending an exuberant amount of money? But so it's like,
Spending a
but
bunch of money for status and just
benefit of the doubt,
like,
at
don't
least
get me wrong, me and Sydney would love to go to Monaco.
I was
Like,
gonna
we're
say, at
not gonna
least
say
I
no to
only
it.
have to pay for quals. At least I only have to pay for quals, and I don't have to pay for the full 3 day race day at this point if we go to
This
Monaco.
is very true, very true. So long as no one crashes into a wall like every year has. But it's definitely an interesting one. You hope that the new regulations will change that with the cars and just everything kind of changing a little bit. But even the
Yeah, I guess
regulations are
we'll
all up in the air
see,
because there was
especially
talk
with,
that they would
I was gonna
cancel and push
say,
it now. It,
especially with, yeah, I feel like the next season will definitely put more in effect of that, but I think it's a little too early to comment on that. But I will say I do see it becoming an issue. Maybe whether they fix that or not, I doubt it, but
I mean, there's nothing they can really do to fix it right now.
add more races. I saw something about maybe a South Africa race.
I think they will eventually. They're trying to go global, right? They need more kind of
That'd
variety,
be
right?
really
Because
cool. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like more variety, like maybe adding more tracks to maybe compensate for the lack of.
it's a matter of where, because there are tracks that have been in F1 before that could be back, or just tracks that have never been on the grid and have kind of gotten that opportunity now. But you just look at it recently,
Dirty.
like, again, we're American. There's probably no reason for us to have free
Yeah.
races in the US. Like Vegas is the spectacle that everyone thought it was going to
Chicago.
be. Danny Rick didn't even get to race there, which is outrageous.
I
But
know.
um, it's a matter of like the Vegas spectacle kind of wore off. Like no one really cares about it. Miami's just not really
It's
that
so cheap
special.
now.
You're racing in a parking lot. Like Austin's awesome. I think
Oh,
Austin's the best of the three, but
I would love to go to Austin. I think Austin would be perfect. And I will say the way that they market the Austin race too is
perfect
fantastic. I love
because it
the
makes it
whole,
very American.
right? I love the whole flip to country, all of that, ring a ding ding. Yeah, I love it.
I think if there's any three races that I would want to go
I
to,
love
like
it.
in person, it would be the Austin race. I think it's just kind of the best one. But that's a talk
I
for another
agree.
time.
I fully agree. I agree.
We'll get those
Maybe we'll
tickets
do one when we're
eventually.
there.
We'll get those tickets eventually.
We'll do one
But
when we're there.
the last big topic that we need to discuss a little bit is the Jack Doohan problem for Alpine. Of course, if you watch qualifying, Jack Doohan had, or it was practice, it wasn't even qualifying, but
I was gonna say
a
when you go.
one of the worst crashes I've ever seen. Like
That was bad. I'm
that car
surprised he like
disintegrated,
walked away. Like I I don't know.
which
That was shocking. That was
it brings
scary.
a whole nother level of concern for them because Jack Doohan knows his job is going to be heavily scrutinized, right? Franco Colapinto is sitting there waiting to take it, right? There was video of him after the race struggling to get out of the car. Whether that was he was exhausted or not, no one else seemed to be exhausted, so it's kind of we don't know. But people are trying to say that he is hiding injuries from Alpine now because he wants to make sure that he doesn't lose his spot, which is just not healthy.
Again, I would keep going back to the same point. I don't know if it's just jitters and everybody's just kind of trying to get into a groove and figure it out, or again, if it's lack of, yeah, just lack of the ability to be in this position. I don't know because it's again, I feel like you have Franco who's sitting there and he performed great last season in my opinion when he was driving. Like,
When he kept the car on the road and didn't hit into the
true.
wall every 5 seconds. But
True. I'm all biased. I love him, but I don't know. I again, and I feel like it's the same thing with the Red Bull. Like I wouldn't be surprised of seeing some mid-season changes in drivers,
so what are your thoughts
but
on mid-season changes then? Because that's where I'm kind of at is the whole idea of mid-season changes. Like, sure, they're great, but the short leases that they've been having on some of these drivers the last couple of years, it just the added pressure you're putting on these drivers isn't helping anyone, right? Like, Doohan's not going to
it's
perform better knowing that Franco's breathing down his neck. Liam Loss is not going to perform better knowing Helmut Marko's ready to snap his fingers and his career's gone. Like,
I feel like I look at it in the sense that like I can see I don't know. See, that's the thing is, I don't know, but I feel it's more of a. I feel in terms of Red Bull, it's more. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a midseason change based off of the nature of the team itself, if you know what I'm saying. But like in terms of like Alpine, I don't know. I maybe not. Again, I feel like it's too early to tell. I feel like with the first race being just a free for all, I feel like we haven't really had too much time to see the drivers on the tracks and their abilities. But it's like if you like correct me if I'm wrong, but I also feel like when he did crash, I heard it was a DRS issue. Like
it
was it a
wasn't
car
an
issue
it
or
wasn't an
him?
issue. It was he so basically in practice and qualifying you have to manually turn DRS on and off, right?
Yeah,
He didn't turn it off and tried hitting the turn with DRS open and it
that's
just
what I
threw the car
thought.
off so badly that he just lost all grip. And the crash was literally I told this to my
It
dad.
was bad.
It was like if we remember Max's crash with Lewis at Silverstone when it was Lewis hitting him. This is the
It was
same
bad.
exact thing, except he
Yeah.
didn't hit anyone.
I
Slammed
just
it off.
I can't remember because I saw something online that somebody like emulated like pressing the button on the actual like
Mhm.
steering. I don't again, I don't know if it's driver error, lack of like
Understanding of what he needs to do.
apparently Sari's talking to me now. But I feel like hey Siri stop. I can't tell. We're playing music now. Hey Siri, stop. Playing Eminem now, I guess. Anyway, I can't tell either if it's he's just bad at driving and doesn't know what he's doing and his start is just way out of his league. If it's the lack of being in the car itself and trying to learn the car, how to function, being at a different level of racing, or if it's a car issue. Like I feel like this is the same with everything. Like you can't give a definitive answer towards it, but I do feel like if it is him kind of proving to us that like he's not ready to compete at this level because he's just I don't know if it's he just can't, then I do see him getting a replacement season. But if I guess if he starts to get the hang of it, no, I don't know.
I think he should get at least one more, two more races. The
Yeah,
kind of point that I have, it depends on where you are as a team, right? When you're a top team like Red Bull, sure, you can understand that you need to kind of change things to try to compete. The
yeah,
issue that I have with Red Bull is they're very obviously not going to compete for a driver's champion or a constructors championship this year because they don't have a second car. So I don't really think that's kind of a point for them. Whereas where you're
yeah.
Alpine and you know you're not competing for anything, you're competing for the midfield pack, which sure, that's great. But you also need to try to find young talent that's going to be able to sit with Gasly for years to come. Doohan's a young talent. At least give him a shot. So it's kind of
I agree.
weird. But you
I,
also have to think
I,
like Flavio Briatore is back. He's basically a Italian helmet Marco and is going to try to push the limits to this team to try to bring them back to the top again, which you could
I
see it.
love. I would love to see that, but I think that's maybe a different topic we can talk about later, but I think it walks the line of how much is a team willing to sacrifice to give a rookie a shot compared to the team a shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you willing
So
to sacrifice a kid's future? Are you willing to sacrifice
the
getting a higher spot? You know what I'm saying?
so
I don't
it's
know. I guess
certainly a topic that we're gonna have to keep track of for the next couple of weeks.
yeah, it's just with the season with our insane amount of rookies, but
I can predict pretty
I wish
confidently that Franco will have
I'd
a
love
seat
to
by the
see
end of the
them.
year, but I don't think that should be just yet. We'll see how it goes.
I'm
But
I'm doing like 70, 30, 70, yes, 30. I think you're right. We need to give him like a couple more
give him
the
some
car or yeah, I don't
give
know.
him some time.
Yeah, we'll figure it
Well,
out. Well, I hope he figures it out.
I do too. And so much for not having a lot to talk about because we talked about that for quite a while. I think that was like 30 minutes worth of talking about that stuff. So we're
But
good.
I like having opinion on stuff like that. 'Cause I think it raises like the other side of Formula One.
Raises
Like, yeah,
conversation.
you have your races and everything. It does. And
Exactly.
I think it like makes I like talking about it. It makes it
And by no
interesting.
means are we
With
professionals.
the
Like
last
we can't give insight of what's gonna happen. This is just what we think should happen. So
exactly.
it's fun to talk as a fan. So it's good. Speaking of
These
talking
seem
as
to
a
be very
fan,
wrong predictions.
speaking of very wrong predictions as well, let's talk some fantasy because it's been a rough
Oh,
go.
Lordy Lord. Oh, Lordy
Let's pull it
Lord.
up. Let's pull it up.
I don't know if I want to pull it up.
I'm okay with pulling up the family league because me and Sydney are currently 1-2 in that league. In both of those leagues, actually. I'm first with 524, Sydney's second with 458. And that would be in both of the leagues. But the league that we care about, we had a bad week. Or at least I know I had a bad week. And looking at it now, Sydney also had a bad week.
No
Uh,
shocker there. Mind you.
we finished fifth and fourth. Sydney was last. I was second to last this week. However, it was much closer this week. Nick did not just completely dominate everyone. He did again win the league this week with
I can't
145
believe he has
points.
that many points.
And shout out Nick Angelino, by the way, because we were told today that we might have some special stuff coming for this podcast from Nick Angelino.
I'm
So
excited.
we're not spoiling it, but we could see something relatively soon, hopefully. But
I'm excited.
Zooks had a nice week, 139 points in second, and Peter at 134 in third. I had 128 in fourth. Sydney had 107 in fifth, leaving the standings at Nick in first by a massive margin. I don't think anyone's going to catch up unless we pull
100
something
points.
crazy. Peter in second, me in third, Sydney in fourth, and Zoogs in fifth place. Do we think we're changing anything now? Because I feel like we need to.
I'm not. I'm gonna stick it out. I'm confident in my team as long as Carlos Sainz can get it together.
Feel like I need to change something. I just don't know what it is. Because of course, the
Let
week
me
that
look at
Aston
yours.
Fernando Alonso actually finishes a race, Lance Stroll gets dead last. So that didn't help anything.
You have no money left, though.
Yeah, that might be an issue.
I also saw a comment. I had high hopes, I think, for Aston Martin a little bit at the beginning, at least to perform a little better. But I think I saw something on the news about how Alonso, I think, was a little upset with how the cars have been performing recently.
And as he probably should be. Of course, I
So
added
I think
Haas.
the
I was
fighting.
trying to play around with this, right? I wanted to take out um, Aston Martin and Alonso and put in Haas and another driver. I put in Haas. I'm left with 5.3 million. I need 5.4 million for Jack Doohan, who I don't even want, which is annoying, but
I don't even know if I would be confident, but I feel like you need to take out Bortoletto.
he's also the cheapest person on this grid right now, so I don't think there's anything.
I
However, let's play around with this. Do we
I
think
think you having Norris and Verstappen is kind of killing you right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
they're guaranteed one in podium every week?
Yeah, but also, what if they're not? And then also, if you have really crappy people or really crappy setup here, you're getting only 100 points. Say if Norris finishes first.
Yeah, this is a hard one.
Like I feel like at least with mine, I was I kind of knew that like I know like I have Oscar still. I know Oscar's always probably going to be podium, maybe if not podium, top five. Hopefully, knock on wood. Russell's been performing very well, but he's obviously not as expensive or as aggressive as maybe Lando or Verstappen maybe. But I still get points. And then I've put in Albon, which I think was a great choice. I feel like he was a great choice. He's been performing pretty well, honestly. And my SD bestie, we love little SD bestie. I'm not gonna take him off because I love him. And then Signs, I think Signs would be the only one that I would change up just because I think he's had a rough start. But at the same time, who else would I switch him out for?
It's all the money is the whole issue, right? Like I don't know how to make the money work because I don't.
Because
I love having Isaac Hadjar on my team. I have him on both teams. I think he's really good. Bortoletto the same way. He's just in an awful car. Alonso I don't like. Aston Martin I don't like. But I don't like. There's a way that I can dump Aston Martin, get a better team and a worse driver, I believe, but it just kind of doesn't work.
I believe it. Because I mean, I'm also technically sitting here with I have Signs who I only have. I mean, I got 4 points off of him, but I'm also sitting with Alpine, who eh, just because I don't have like one of the drivers, like I'm still not getting the points in the team. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm either performing well in the driver's side or I'm performing well in the team side. But I will say I didn't lose any points this week. But
I don't believe I.
Nick seems to have it down to a science. So
I don't
I don't
know
know what
how
to
he
listen
did that. Like it makes zero sense that this team works, but it does.
with.
I mean, he's got triple McLaren points. That's what it is. So that's basically all I need. Maybe I should go that route, but
I
we'll
was gonna
figure it
say
out. I think this week I'm gonna be leaving it alone. I think one more
I
time and
think
just see what happens.
I think that's fair. I think that's
Nah,
fair. I was gonna say I don't touch it. I like it. I have high hopes. I just need signs to get on it. I need him to step it up. I need
he
Alpine to start scoring. Come on, guys. Let's
and
go.
he will. He will. So yeah, fantasy. there's your outlook for the week. As always, if you want to join, let us
Uh,
know. We'll
Nothing
add you happily,
fancy
but
there.
nothing really to report on that end. But
Yeah.
now the fun part, because we need to start doing a little game that we
This
actually
is,
keep
I'm
track of this.
excited for this. I'm really excited for this.
Race predictions for Bahrain this weekend. Morning race finally, which is
Oh, I'm
very
so excited.
nice.
I can
11
drink
a.m.
coffee and watch the race happily now. It's
This is going to be
amazing.
great. But I want to hear your thoughts. I'll let you go first. We want
What was
top five
the
this
next
week,
of
and we want
this?
any bold. We also have
Uh,
no idea how this point structure is going to work, as in like how this game's going to work. I'm guessing like
we'll figure it
5 points
out.
for
We'll
getting
figure it
first
out.
right, four, and so on. We'll figure it out, but
Yeah, it's like a staggered. We can do like a staggered.
yeah,
Okay.
let's hear it.
Ooh, top five. Oh God.
Start at five.
That's hard. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do hmm. Let's see. Let's see what it looked like. Five. I'm gonna put Leclerc. I'm gonna put Leclerc at five.
All right, let me keep track of this.
It's gonna be the same five. I feel like we're gonna have the same five,
I don't
just
think we
maybe a
will.
different order. I'm gonna put Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri. That's what I'm gonna do.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. And any reason behind that? Care to explain at all?
Um, I feel like those have been kind of your dominant. Obviously, your top. I feel like Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Russell. I feel like have been your top, just moving up and down. I mean, Leclerc. I feel like they're starting to get the hang of it a little bit. It seems. I feel like we had a rough start there at the beginning, but I have high hopes. I like Kimmy. I don't know if I have enough faith in him yet to get top five. Same with Hamilton. I think they're improving, but I feel like I don't have enough. I don't feel like it's enough time yet to compete for podium yet, and for them.
I think you're probably right on that.
And then I feel like the rest kind of explains itself. I don't really have any faith in anybody else. It's too
Yeah.
early.
It's one of those that you just it's all a matter of DNFs and stuff like that, because that's kind of how it's going to go
Yeah,
at the top
which
five.
I
Like
haven't even.
you look at Bahrain
Yeah.
last year, and not a single racer DNF'd. So something to keep in mind
That's,
when we do this stuff. But I'll
yeah.
I'll go in a similar manner. I think I know my top three. I don't think anyone's kind of shocked about that, right? We know what our top three is going to be. It's just a matter of the order. Four and five are more interesting.
Curious.
Hmm. It all depends on where Kimi Antonelli qualifies, because he's been so quick that I don't know where to put him, because at the end of
Listen,
the
I
last
just
race he was catching Russell.
I don't have enough faith in him yet.
I'm going to put
I
faith in
believe
him.
in you.
I'm going to put faith in him and put him in fifth. And I'm not sure if I like it,
Okay, okay. I
because
like it. I like
of course
confidence.
we
I
learned
like
last
it.
week the stuff that I want to happen won't happen, but we'll figure that out as it happens.
Just ever.
Fourth, I'm gonna go Russell. I think fourth is kind of just the position he's going to finish every single race in. It's going to be him and
I
Leclerc
I
swap a
I
lot.
honestly agree until he pulls yeah, a one pit stop race again. Like I don't like I don't know.
I'm going to go Lando third, as much as that pains me. I think he
I thought
finishes
about
third.
that. I'm not gonna lie. I thought about it.
Max is going to finish second. Because what I've seen, when Lando and Max start battling, Lando doesn't have that like kind of it
He doesn't have
factor
the
to get
grit.
past them, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have the grit
So
for
we're
it.
putting him in second, and that leaves Oscar to win. I think Oscar kind of has that ability, and I think McLaren might try something new where if they're Lando's struggling, they might try to let Oscar through. But I think that's where we're going to roll for the top five: Piastri, Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Kimi.
Yeah,
And just to explain how I think this game should work, because it kind of popped in my head as we're sitting here. If we get first place right, 5 points. If we get second place right, 4 points. Third place, three. Fourth place, two. Fifth place, one. You got them wrong, you get nothing. Fair?
I like it. Should we do like a wild card? Should we do like a random wild card? You have to pick like,
A random position finish. We'll add that
yeah,
next week
like a
because we got to
random,
think
yeah.
about that more. We got to think about that
Do
more.
like a random, like, if you get it
We'll
right, you get
do,
like 10.
okay, we're not going to do it this week, but next week we'll do like a random number generator. And whichever number they pick, we have to
You
choose
have
that.
to pick a person. I like it.
Absolutely.
Let's do
I
that. And if you
like
get
it.
it right, you get 10 points. I like it.
Absolutely. All right, let me
I
write that.
like it. Wait, that
But
sounds so fun.
look
Okay,
at
I like.
us creating a little game. It's going to be nice. But
I could also, what I could see too happening is maybe another pit incident, how we had with Norris and Verstappen.
we'll
And
put that in the
same
air
thing with
again.
last season, both of them taking each other out. And then all of a sudden you've got,
It'll be
I don't,
interesting.
I don't freaking know,
It'll be
Alonso
interesting for
first place. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure. Well,
it'd be an interesting.
it's going to be an interesting race for sure. But I think we covered everything. It was a not a ton to talk about, but I think we made do and got everything that we needed out.
I think it was a good. I think it was good. I think it was a good check-in, given there wasn't much action in the race, but I think it was a good kind of a reset, maybe.
Good
New,
reset.
new
Bahrain usually
perspective.
brings some fun, hopefully. And we'll see how
Yeah,
it
I just
goes.
looked at the weather. It's gonna be hot.
As always, because why wouldn't it be? But
It's gonna be hot.
that'll be a situation for this weekend to discuss. But yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
everything we got to cover right now.
excited.
So thank you guys for
I'm
watching episode 4. Tread lightly.
tread
Go follow us
lightly.
on Instagram. We're gonna have some more little fun things there that we're planning. While we were here, I saw Peter Marsh also followed us on Instagram. So we're
Yay!
getting up there a little bit. We're big shots now.
Comment, comment, comment ideas on what we should do for winner, loser, whatever. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us. We don't have a Twitter. Follow us on
Subscribe.
YouTube,
Subscribe to
please.
YouTube, please.
I love it. I
And
love
we'll see you
it.
next week.
We will be back.
See you soon, everyone.